When I first got asked to join the project and was introduced to the characters, I was astonished by how beautiful the designs were. In particular, the Jumbo Monster and the Port Master. They were such interesting looking characters and such a challenge to animate, a technical challenge and also an artistic challenge. So those were really appealing in that they were very interesting creatures, but I loved all the mice and the bunny and the ferrets because those were so cute, and those kinds of characters are my favorite thing to work on. Well, the Port Master was really interesting because he had this really big bulbous head, and then the eyes were actually on the side of his head, and they were small. Well, with all animation, we say the eyes are the window to the soul, and so you need to be able to see those expressions. So we had to kind of turn him to the side, like you do when you're trying to show your best profile. So we had to turn him to the side a lot in the shots, and then we had to work a lot in the eye area to make sure we had enough movement in the brow and the eyelids to make it expressive. There were a lot of different things that I learned that I hadn't done before, particularly organizing the crowd simulations,
right.
The tentacle setups on the Simu large hand. It was a group effort to try to solve these problems of how we were going to approach the crowd sims. Mostly it was about trying to figure out how we could get it done with the least amount of animation but still look really good. And then the tentacle stuff was just really trying to get an aesthetic that the director was happy with and try to make the rig work in a way that we could get what he wanted. Also, we spent a lot of time working on how to get the animation to work with the cloth simulations. So we had to learn how to get our work prepped properly so that they could run all the cloth simulations procedurally, which meant that it was all being run by scripts through an engine, and they weren't animating the cloth by hand. So in order for that to work, all of the animation had to be organized and finished off in a certain way. There was numerous very challenging technical problems because the amount of different characters we had and the amount of elaborate detail that was needed, it was jumping from one technical hurdle to the next. I actually animated a couple of shots where the mice dive off the bridge and swing around underneath it. And there was a lot of rain in our Hyderabad office, and some of the animators went outside and they filmed themselves diving into a whole flood of water. I mean, it was literally water streaming down the street, and you could see cars actually moving, but they all did. They reenacted that mouse shot on the street with the floods beside them. But there were so many great memories. Like, it was such a nice team to work with. And so much fun. Undoubtedly one of the highlights of my career.